Hey, what's going on? So this is going to be a little bit of an informational video on how to better trade this system and how to start understanding the behavior, the reaction, and the rejection, right? So here's what we're going to do. The first initial exercise before any trade and any sort of bias on the day. Right now this is September 8th, 2025, and I want you to take notice of behavior. So currently, let's look at the behavior on the 5-minute. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the 5-minute, and we're going to let this load. And we're going to take notice of a few things. Awesome. So we're going to take notice of this key area up here, right? So this is our behavior. Anytime that we got to the 23,889 zone, this was a major respection of price. We heavily respected price, and as easy enough, what happened? We just go straight down. So what happens? We pop up, and then we go straight down. That is our behavior. Our behavior right there is our slope up, followed by a slow uptrend to the upside. Right? We reach the full extension target, and this is a part of this day, I believe. Yeah. So this will be your important level to mark. If you don't have these zones on your chart, which you more than likely will not when I have this, if anything develops up here within that time, it'll automatically show on your chart, but these are currently in development. So for the time being, you can just go draw a rectangle, and wherever price was rejecting on the previous day, you can just draw a simple little range like that, and that can be your target for the behavior. All right, so let's see what's happening on the currently. So as you can see, we had our first major upside. We had a major pivot, attempted to break lower with a short ATR level, but that's accounting for this day. But as you can see, we have some major pivot levels down here that have been that have been respected. So now we have our obvious levels for today. Today we're focusing on these levels right here. So from here to here, which is being drawn out right there. So that's what we're worried about for today. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the chart. We're going to play it through. So now that we've identified behavior, we're going to identify reaction and rejection. So as long as this plays through, we'll speed this up a little bit. Okay, and as you can see, those zones are being printed throughout the day. This is something new I'm working on, so try not to worry too much about it. Okay. There we go. So as we continue to push up, we're going to imagine what happens here. We're going to pause that right there. This is very important. Notice how the level that I established right here immediately rejected. This is the rejection. So this is our behavior. This is our rejection. Now we're looking for the reaction. Reaction is when we have identified the rejection, and whether you decided to short at the top, try to get a short entry up there, or say maybe you were looking for a long to even higher, right? We're going to look for the reaction now. We've already had our rejection. We've had our behavior. Now we're looking for our reaction. So we're going to see how price moves. So we're just going to go a couple bars deep, see what happens. Okay, so we have a cloud bounce right there. We reattempt the zone. So now this has been reattempted about 5 times. So we'll see how it reacts. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So this is reaction to the rejection. This is a perfect model for entry for a short. If you held this through, ideally, if you was able to short the extension target or anything remotely close to it, so your only entry would probably be around there, you'd be able to capitalize on this play. This is the behavior, rejection, reaction. So we identified our behavior of the previous day. We noticed that price was at an uptrend, right? And since we know that the price is overall bullish for the day, we could definitely say and assume that, hey, we can definitely try and look for longs throughout the day, which is absolutely acceptable, right? So taking any longs, let's say you took a long here off the top of this ATR level, we popped up, right? You could have your target at that machine learning level and you'd be great. It keeps going sideways, pops right back down, gets right back on that level. Okay, say you went long there, that might have been a little bit of drawdown, but you got caught right back up. And we start ranging into the cloud. We start tapping our wicks, and we continue to push higher. But as we push higher, watch what happens. Right there, that is our rejection, and that is our reaction. So we have become completely aware of where price is going to go. We already knew that this was a very possible rejection zone, and this established behavior, reaction, rejection. This is the rejection. This is the reaction. As we move downwards, notice that we tapped the ATR line and we pretty much essentially bounced it. There's a couple things that could happen here. We could either continue higher or the cloud could be respected and we push lower. So we're just going to let this play out. Okay, and looks like for the end of the day, this is what happened. We were able to retest that zone multiple times. We never broke above, which is fine. And we more than likely would have been able to take full advantage of this trade, right? So this is a really good example of how you would identify a home run trade. Or if you want to, you can also do this on smaller time frames to identify smaller moves. So say, for example, if there was something on the 1 minute that told you that there was a minor behavior rejection reaction, say at this 1 minute candle over here, so there was 5 of these, another 5 of these, then the full rejection happens and we break down to 806 from 860, right? That would be a good example on how you could scalp this, right? So if you want to scalp that entry model, it would look very similar on the 1 minute. So as we load this up, I apologize for the candles being a little bit wacky. I don't have any control over that. Okay. Might take a moment to load. 1 minute candles are not exactly the fastest. There we go. So really, really, really good example here. So many plays that can be made, right? So let's check this out. So we have our behavior right here. We have our behavior of price. Anytime it got into this zone right here, from here to all the way over here, we had our behavior. Behavior is also technically right here. So you have behavior, which is your initial move. Anytime we popped up, we shot right back down. We have technically a reaction and behavior right here because it's within that zone and it did acknowledge itself just a little bit. So just for simplicity's sake, behavior, rejection, reaction. And then we can do that again if we want to pop it back up, right? So we bounce the machine learning level, look what happens. Behavior, rejection, rejection, straight down, that's the reaction. And that happens once again. Behavior, rejection, 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 reaction. Each and every single time that's able to be identified. It's not that difficult. Same thing with up here. Look what happens once again. Behavior, rejection, reaction. Behavior, rejection, reaction. This one is a little bit smaller though, still a scalp. Behavior, rejection, 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 reaction. Rejection, reaction. Rejection, reaction. Rejection, reaction. If you can identify this trend, it's very easy to take trades, especially if you're scalping late at night sessions. This is the kind of thing that you'd be doing. So let's move to later in the night, right? So say for the people that trade London and Asia session, right? Same exact thing. Pretty self-explanatory here. So We look for the strongest move to the left of us, straight up. We identify where it decided to consolidate and shoot down, so that'd be between these levels right here. So we'll take, just for simplicity's sake, here's what we'll do. We'll do these levels, so from here to here. Now, London and Asia is a little bit tricky because sometimes it won't always hit that. So you do have to be a little bit, there's a little more risk involved, but same exact concept. Reaction, rejection, behavior, rejection, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction. Then look what happens. Right, so initial behavior, we know that it's popped up, but now we're below major levels. Say this was, say I didn't have my new ATR levels, there'd probably be some strong key levels up here. But check out what happens. This is new behavior. Behavior, rejection, 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 reaction, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction. And you can technically move that all the way down until new behavior is established, right? So new behavior is typically identified when we're in a zone where it starts consolidating, but it keeps moving up, right? So, for example, this is behavior. This is also technically behavior. So behavior up here, behavior down here. So, but no behavior plays are made for shorts here. So behavior, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction, rejection, reaction. Then we pop back up. This is new behavior, large move, right? And then I've already explained this level over here. So that's the kind of thing that you can do. We'll do a little bit more of an example here. So let's see here. Let's run this through. So we have our initial behavior for today. Pause it. So, same exact thing. This one is another bullish setup for the behavior reaction rejection, or the behavior rejection reaction. However, it doesn't really matter how you set it up. So let's identify this again. We pop up, right? So this is our behavior. This is our reaction, and then so behavior rejection. Right. Then we have our reaction. So then what happens again? We pop right back into this area. So rejection, reaction. Right, and this happens all the time. And you can do this on smaller and smaller time frames. It does not matter whatsoever. Okay, new behavior. So now if you were looking for shorts, let's check out what happened here. If we were looking to get the absolute best short possible, we'd have to wait for a move to just about around this zone right here. So something in this area we need to be looking for to attempt shorts. So let's see if we get anything that pops up before new session. Okay. All right, okay, this is a perfect example of a bearish behavior rejection reaction. This one's a little bit different though, considering it did actually go to the previous day close, but shorts tend to move just a little bit faster. So, what's our initial behavior? So we take out these highs right here. These are considered our bullish zones, or in this case, they're marked out, so that's fine. So a lot of short liquidity up here, right? So these zones are already drawn for me. You won't have access to these for a while, but this is what I see. These are the best possible areas for longs and shorts, given a specific range, right? So check out what happens. So we pop, we're probably gonna pop up. There we go, right? New zone is made right at the levels that I was talking about, and look what happens. Same exact thing. So we have our push down, then we pop up. This is our behavior. We take this level, we pop up. We take this level, we pop up. This gets respected because these are previous day close, and we did have a very large candle, so it's to be expected, right? But I'd be long just about right here, given the strength of the previous move. I'm already watching the behavior. I know that at this level there is a strong amount of buyers. So then what happens? We tap that level, and technically, if you shorted here, you would have grabbed a little solid move there. But I mean, we could just watch this through. So look at that. Once again, crazy. We pop up, right? We get back into this level that I was worried about, right? It shorts. We get right back into that level, and then it happens again. And this continuously happens throughout the day. And this is how you use the behavior, reaction, rejection. It is very simple. It's very easy to use. You don't need these. You can technically just draw them out yourself. You just have to look for the wicks and look for the wicks that happen at key levels like this. And that is all you need. So, I mean, if you see from here to here, these are key levels right here. And then notice how it bounces and then it shoots right back down. Very, very, very simple. So, same thing happens. There we go. So, check this out. Behavior, rejection, reaction. Behavior, rejection, reaction. Behavior. So, behavior, rejection, reaction. This happens constantly. So, level gets tapped again, and we'll see what happens. Does it reverse off that level? No, it does not. It finally breaks through. So, this is how you would be able to identify this. Whether you wanted to take longs at these levels, or you wanted to take shorts at the tops where these are, it's completely up to you. Alright, so anyways, thanks for watching.